Eric, you take over now. I want you to create a second machine on the same server. So you guys should be fluent then and helping each other out. So that's coming soon now. And the reason, I remember I asked you guys last time, I'm going to be putting people on spot. I hope you guys don't dislike it, because I like to do it this way. Because just exactly how you're going to get a ticket, that's exactly how I like to do things. So this is what we're going to touch next time. So far, I think everybody's doing well. Again, if you have any questions or you get confused in certain areas, then you can ask me a question. Now let's go back to the Exchange Online. Is there anybody else wants to talk about Exchange Online, or do you want me to explain it, Kevin or Kevin Diaz or Steven?
Hey, Danish.
Yep, go ahead.
Do we still have well, as you mentioned in the video, that we only have access for 30 days to go to practice over the 365. Is it the same for us?
Yes. So that when you create an account in everybody's creating a trial account in Office 365 themselves, right? So this is your own account.
Okay.
And you're watching the video. So once you create an account, that account trial account is from Microsoft, I think 25 or 30 days. Right?
No, but Donish, you could do the developer mode and get it for 90 days if you want to get that one.
Yeah, you can extend it, by the way.
Yep.
Yeah, and you guys can always extend it. And that's just coming from Microsoft. That's not JSS or us, right? So let's say for some reason that 30 days didn't get promoted for some reason. Maybe Kev have a document to show you for the 90 days, but let's say that didn't happen. Go ahead and create a new one. No problem, right? Because Microsoft doesn't stop you from creating multiple accounts, by the way. So far they are not doing it. I'm not sure about the future, but so far they're not. So if 30 days are expired, go and extend it. If that get expired, go ahead and create a new one.
I was gonna say that the developer mode, the one that I have, so I made a YouTube video on the developer mode. It's good for 90 days, and they extend it to 120 days if you're still using it, and they keep extending it over and over again for a whole year. So
do you want to share that video in the group? So then I think people should get that, and make sure that it does have the same access, because
it has everything. You're a developer, so it has everything. It's kind of cool, actually.
So that should be good, because then you can follow what Ali is teaching on the YouTube right now, the modern skills that he's putting out there. Almost every second day he's putting out a video out there. So those videos, to be honest, is one of the top skills currently people are looking for right now. The Office 365, like creating a multiple user from PowerShell, creating a user from Portal, creating a management of groups. These are the modern type of skills a lot of companies are looking for right now. So if you're very comfortable with that kind of stuff, you're way ahead, in this game then, because that's the things that people are looking for these days.
Yeah, as soon as I made that video, Donish, that video on the developer mode, not to joke or anything, I made a video on it. The whole website went down for a whole day because everyone kept registering. I made a video on it. It was so funny.
Of social media.
Well, it's back up now. So.
Microsoft stop giving out, then we know who's at fault.
No. Come on. All right.
Yeah. So Exchange, anybody want to talk? Steven, Kevin Diaz.
Oh, I was gonna ask. So, what do you guys have questions on Exchange? Like, what do we want to go over?
Yeah.
So maybe Kevin, can you just talk about this? Will give me a little break. Talk about like the on-premises Exchange, how you use it on your job before, and I'll talk about the online Exchange now.
Yeah. So you have so depending on the company, because and Steve could quote me on this, because every company is different, right? So you may have access to Exchange Admin Center, you may not, but it's good to know it, because if you do, actually you can apply for like higher level jobs. So Steve, I don't think you don't have access to that, right, Steve?
No, I do not. I wish I did, but I do not at this time. No.
Okay. Yeah. So basically, there's this thing called Exchange Admin Center, right? The things you care about is mailbox creation. So I don't know if you guys are taking notes, but obviously this is recorded. The most important thing you should know about is mailbox creation, how to create a mailbox when you're working with somebody, like someone brand new starting, right, Monday morning. And HR emails you, right? It's a ticket coming, new hire, blah, 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 senior analyst, blah, 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 username, password, email, what groups to add them to, and all that good stuff. You go and create the mailbox on Exchange Admin. Then you create the mailbox, and then you have to probably add them to distribution groups. So you should know how to create distribution groups on Exchange. So you got to go in there and do that as well. You have to know about share mailboxes. So those are other things. Like sometimes you'll have like, oh, HR, hi HR, I want you to give me access to the share mailbox of HR. Can you please give me access, right? You're gonna get calls about that. Can you give me delegation access? Can you give me write access? Can you give me access to send on behalf of an email? So basically you're sending on behalf of that mailbox. So like I have Ernest, I have your mailbox, right? I give myself rights to your mailbox, and then I send emails on your behalf. So it's like things that you'll be doing commonly in Helpdesk. It's like level 2, obviously. It's not level 1. Like there's like a lot of access that you get given, and basically you're touching mailboxes, you're doing distribution groups, you're doing send on behalf access. You're also changing the retention policy on Exchange Admin Center. So basically, there's a policy that goes in place for retention policy if you have access to it, where basically your emails get deleted after 90 days or 100 days or 200 days or 300 days. The reason they do that is because they don't want you to have so many emails on your inbox, because when you do that, you only have a certain amount of emails in your inbox before it crashes. So what happens is the emails get moved to the server, right? They archive it. So they move it to a server. So it's like retention policy. That's what that is. There's a lot. That's like very, like there's a lot of stuff on Exchange. And Danish, I don't know if you want me to go over some of it today, or
that's good enough. So I think the very simple answer that I can give people, like when you hear about Exchange servers, right? So some companies even today they're using like an on-premises Exchange server, and then some companies are totally moved to a online Microsoft Exchange online. So some companies are actually using hybrid. They have a on-premises Exchange server working for internal servers, and then they have like for clients or staff members, they have Exchange online working. Back, I think I don't know if you heard me in my lecture back in the days. Exchange server skills, kind of like you would hire a sysadmin who would know about this stuff, and some people would actually hire a Exchange server administrators, Exchange administrators, and they would be making good money at that time. But that trend is going down, of course, because Microsoft is moving all to online for this kind of features, and even SharePoint. So at this point, you really don't have to worry too much about on-premises type of Exchange, but having a knowledge about it because of the tools, like, when you get a call, hey, we need to trace an email, or we need to create a mailbox, and that's on-premises Exchange. So then having a knowledge about it is actually really good. And I think Kevtech have a video on this, where he creates a full mailbox on an on-premises Exchange server. He actually created a whole Exchange server, by the way, from scratch.
I did. So I have a video of me I have server 2016.
Yeah.
And then I put server 20 Exchange server on top of it on the VM. No one has a video like that. I'm the only one that has a video like that on YouTube. And basically, it's like a hybrid setup.
So I would just watch that video. You don't have to do that whole setup, because like I said, if you do an online Exchange skills on Office 365, that's kind of validate your like skills that about Exchange. That is kind of like what people are going to expect. If people,
I have that setup.
Yeah, there you go.
Yep, I built one.
So yeah, if somebody, and maybe if you have the setup and it's working, maybe one day you can, if somebody's really interested, maybe you can do a collaboration with them and say, hey, there you go, this is how you create a mailbox. So that would really help all of you.
Yeah, Eric and I went over on that on Friday night a little bit.
That's good.
I
The
got
other
a
thing.
question.
Yeah. Actually, ask a question. Is it related to mailboxes and Exchange and stuff? Or is
Yeah.
Okay. Yes.
And it's just that I don't. Well, I think that happened to me a couple of times. I've tried to send a file to my friends, and then he says it's too large. Is that happening in the workplace?
Yes. So
Yes.
one of the reasons that we have these limits, it's something you can control inside of the server. And for some systems like Gmail, for example, that's preset by Google. And the reason for that is you don't want to store large files on the mail server and fill it up. You know, you want that space for actual emails. So instead, you use an actual platform that's designed for sending big files. So Google Drive, Dropbox, Box.com, all these services that exist to send files are preferable to storing giant files on the mail server and filling it up. Imagine if everybody was sending 2 GB files over email and now the mail server is full and there's barely any emails on the actual mail server. It's mostly just files. It's not good. And so so instead what we do, we set these limits, don't let people send large files, and give them other alternatives to send their files. Also, it's more efficient because sending large files over email is going to be a lot slower than just uploading it somewhere and sending the link. And also you can send the link to multiple people instead of forwarding it as well and filling up their mailboxes.
All right, thank you.
But what I was going to say before, I was just be aware that you may be in a Microsoft environment, or you like in terms of the mail system, but you could also be a lot of the modern companies, what they're doing, such as mine and many more, is they're focusing more on SaaS services. And with that comes a lot of Google ecosystems. So you'll, instead of using Exchange, you'll be using Google Workspace, and you'll need to learn. It's basically the same kind of stuff that you can do in Microsoft, in Exchange online and in O365 online. You know, resetting passwords, unlocking accounts, all that kind of same stuff. You can do this in the exact same way in the Google Workspace environment. It's going to be a different place. It's going to be maybe slightly different terminology, but it's something to be aware of, that you can end up in one of these environments and you'll have to learn how to work in there as well. Usually you'll find that the Google Workspace environment is a lot easier to work in than the O365 environment because there's a lot less things to poke at.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's a lot easier to use, and it's relatively the same. If you know how to use one, you know how to use the other one. Relatively.
Exactly.
So,
What's your take on the percentage of them? Who's using Office 365 more? Still more being used more than in the Google Workspace, or
I
is it
think
hard?
it's hard to say. It's pretty even. I mean, a lot of people use Google Workspace, but a lot of people use O365 because a lot of people use Windows and Windows-centric environments. You know, O365 just integrates flawlessly. Everybody's been using Outlook for years. It's just the natural evolution from Outlook to O365. I mean, sorry, from Exchange to O365. It's a natural evolution for any company, but definitely a lot of newer companies are trending towards Google Workspace. If not for anything, at least for pricing. You know, like it's a lot cheaper, I think.
yeah,
when look at
you see Outlook, man. One thing about this working IT support or help desk, you gotta know how to troubleshoot Outlook.
100%.
That is like the bread and butter of every company. If you don't know how to troubleshoot Outlook, you give me an answer like, I'm gonna recreate the whole profile. I'm gonna stare at you like, what are you doing? You know. So
also, like, to point that if you learn about Google and you go to the interview and you say, I know how to troubleshoot Google or whatever, like emails, people are going to still accept, like, you know, they're going to be looking at you, okay, and you know something more technical, right, Kev Diaz? Similarly, if you go that I know about Office 365 and you go to the interviews, people are going to still respect that and take you as, okay, you know that. So a lot of times, like, we don't have to learn every single thing that's in the market right now. You should understand what it is. You should understand the competitors. Let's say if you go for Google a little bit more deeper, then you should understand Office 365 as well. But at your level where you're trying to apply for, let's say, level 1 positions or, you know, IT support positions, they don't expect you to know every single thing as long as you know some of the major things, right? So that kind of like, you know, it's like a tick mark in when you come to me for an interview. I'm like, okay, Ernest, you know about Google Mail, so that's good. That's technical. And since we use Office 365, yeah, you can learn it, no problem, right? But if you don't know anything about it, then that's where another person who knows a little more than you gets a better opportunity.
Yeah, you need to be aware that they exist. Be aware, okay, I see this technology on a job description. I may not know it, but I know that I can learn it because I know this other technology that's very similar. I never worked with O365 before talking with Kevtech and seeing his videos and being here in the Discord. Literally within less than 20 minutes of poking around on 365, I had to figure it out just based on my experience from working with Google Workspace. So it's not something where like it's either or in terms of learning, but it's something to be aware of, that it exists out there and you're likely to encounter it and to not be scared of it. And this is not just that, right? Some people with Teams, you'll see Teams a lot, right? That's the new, everybody's working from home, hybrid environments. Team is being implemented very heavily, but other companies are going to use Slack. And Slack and Teams, if you've never used either of them, they're basically just Discord. So at the end of the day, you have something to compare it to say, yes, I can learn these skills. It's not that complicated, and feel more confident when you apply to these jobs and see these skills that you may not have.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's not it's not that bad. When you obviously when you do it, the first obviously you're gonna be a little uncomfortable, but once you start doing it, you actually start like just like everything, right? You gotta lab it up, right? Lab it up, you learn it, you do it a couple of times, and then it becomes muscle memory. You learn it, and this is not that bad, and then you get used to it. So it's just a matter of doing it instead of as opposed to just watching a video, right? Just follow along the video, like Donish was talking about. Follow along the video that was created, and then do it on your own lab, right? Because it's there, so you could just go and lab it up, learn it, and then you have another skill to add on your resume, and you have something to talk about when you go to a job interview. So, and
what I just said before just gave me an idea. Technically, if the job is like very like, so there's new job titles where you're doing a lot of video conference support or collaboration support. So dealing with Teams, Zoom, meeting rooms. I thought about something. Technically, you can add Discord if you know how to manage a Discord server. Technically, that's experience that can transfer over. Yep. That's still relevant experience. Actually, there's companies that use Discord instead of Slack and Teams. So I think that even that like is something that you can add. Like you have to be more open-minded to thinking about the things that you work on a daily basis and see those as skills that you can transfer over and use that to learn those new things that you're learning or that you need to learn.
And what I went over, like as far as stuff you need to know, those are things you need to know, like mailboxes, distribution groups. I'll ask Ron actually. Ron, you there? I think you're muted.
Yes, sir. Yep.
Common question. What's the difference between a security group and a distribution group?
Distribution group is basically like a mailing list. Security group is gonna, I'm not 100% sure on that one, but it's gonna be a group that is gonna have the privileges of defining the. Maybe I think I just lost it there. Sorry, but yeah, distribution group is definitely a mailing list, pretty much in the simplest term.
Can I help?
Hey, Kevin, I'm coming in 5 minutes. Okay, I need to restart.
Yeah, okay, man. Eric, what's up?
So the security group is pretty much like it gives you access to certain things, and then the distribution group is pretty much email.
Got it. I ask you another question. Another question, Eric. Since you gave me the good answer. Can you add a contact to a distribution group? Yes or no?
I would say no. Well, you have to. Well, yeah, because you add it on the Active Directory.
You sure about that?
No.
Ernest?
I want to say.
Can you add a contact? Can you add a contact on a distribution group? Yes or no?
I want to say yes. And the reason I want to say yes, lean towards that, is because if you have a distribution group, if something else needs to be added to it, then you would have to recreate another distribution group. And that's something you don't want to do.
I'm asking about a contact. Contacts. Can you add a contact?
contact information or
No,
contact?
contact. Do you know what that is?
I'm seeing it as a user contact. Is that wrong?
Kev, can you give me a co-host so I can share my screen?
Yeah. Give me a second.
No, I'll show.
There you go.
Okay.
It's not so. It's a contact. Do you know what a contact is?
If I go here, right, and I say new contact, do you guys know what this is?
Guys,
Yeah. So
Eric's is so confused.
I know.
yeah, I know. For me too, I'm gun shy about saying it, but I was under the impression contact is like a user, a new addition to.
This is the
I
real
see.
test. This is a real test right here because I made a video on this. I'm surprised you guys never heard of this.
So obviously here it says first name, last name, full name, and it's called a contact, right?
Right.
And here we have regular users. What does logic dictate that this could be? What was it that you said, Ernest?
A user.
But it's not a user. It's a contact. What's the difference between this a user and this contact?
The contact's not part of the Active Directory in the network.
All right. Okay. So well, it is part of the Active Directory, but it's clarify your statement. Basically, is what I'm trying to say.
So like if I was creating it, maybe it's somebody that like I just have contact with, like that I know outside of maybe the company or maybe
Exactly.
like a vendor or something.
Exactly. So that's literally it. It's literally like a contact in a phone book, right? You know, or a contact in your phone. Like that's exactly what it is. So can you give actually before we even answer Kev's question, what can you do with a contact? Can you give a contact a user and a password?
No.
Now I want to lean to say no because the contact would be external.
Okay.
So you,
just making sure.
yeah. Now, I didn't understand the concept of contact being internal versus external. So this would be an example would be like a customer.
Yeah, like it's just a name. So like you just want you literally just have somebody like a phone number or something, somebody that you can contact. And when you go in or like an email, you know, you go into your email and you go and type this person's name and you'll find them in your contact list.
Yep.
Nothing special, you know.
But can you add them to a group, a distribution group?
No.
What?
No.
You sure?
How do I make a distribution group?
Yes.
Anybody know? Anybody? I go in here to users and computers, maybe. No.
Yeah, welcome through how to make a distribution group.
I want to see if anybody knows first.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah.
How do you make a distribution group here? Anyone?
Create, but I don't know where we would begin.
Great. Okay, so somebody take a guess. Anyone? Alicia, we haven't heard from you in a bit. Take a guess.
Go to groups.
Okay, groups. Here we have a security group that I've created before.
Yeah, you can just right click.
Okay.
Go to new
Mm-hmm.
and click group.
All right.
Yeah, and then you can fill out the name and set it to security or distribution.
Okay, so we said we want a distribution group. We won't worry about this stuff right now. All right, so now we want to add or try to add a user or the contact to the group. Ron, how do I add a user to this Kevtech group?
Okay, let's try. Let's click on user.
We're gonna add. Here, I'll make it easier. We're gonna add myself,
Okay.
Kevin, to this distribution group.
Okay, let's see. Let's try click in the. Let's do the right click.
On what?
or any of the user. Like now, let's say let's add.
We're gonna add Kevin.
maybe
Okay, so right click Kevin.
All right.
Okay,
Add to a group,
add to a group. What do I do here?
and then let's search the. You just created a Linux group. Oh, sorry, Kevtech group, right? Let's,
Yeah, Kevtech group.
Yep. Let's try and type. Let's type Kevtech, and then let's search it. Check names.
Okay, Kevtech, check names. Good. Good.
All right,
Okay.
can we just
Okay.
drag and drop?
You can also just drag and drop. Absolutely.
Nice.
Now, back to the original question. Can you add a contact to the distribution group?
Yep, we can.
So we try
We
it.
just did. We just did.
No, that was a user. So
Oh,
now let's
wait,
just
yeah.
try to add test contact to Kevtech group.
The object has been added successfully.
Yeah, got it.
And in here, there's nothing, of course.
But Eric, you said no. You actually can.
You can.
Yes. To answer your question. The contact is there and the user is there. So why do we make a distribution group and why do we add a contact to it? Anyone? Now I'm gonna ask you another question now on top of it.
Which is basically, what is a distribution group? It's basically what he's asking. Like, why would we use that?
To
Okay.
email internal and external.
To email the group of people that have in the same.
Simplest answer. Yep.
Yep.
That's a simple answer. Always keep it dumb and simple.
Exactly. Yep. But you could you in some companies what they do is when you work with vendors, right? They make a contact for a vendor and add them to a distribution group. So then they could email the vendor, if that makes sense. So you could actually do that.
So like, for example, right now, I have a thread open in my email with a bunch of people, account managers and tech support for Dell. Let's say I had to talk with the same people regularly. I can just have Dell support distribution group. And now I just email that group instead of sending it just to one person, for example.
And the reason
Or-
I asked that question is that's an interview question. They ask you like, what is a contact? Can you add a contact to a distribution group? And then I ask you, what is a distribution group? You know, all those things are interview questions. Ernest, what's up?
Yes, so so that we don't ask the question on Discord, Kevin, can you help me fix this problem? Basically, what we could do is we could create a distribution group with Kevin, Steve, and Danish. And then that way, if we have a problem, we could just send it to the distribution list, right?
Exactly.
I'm
Exactly,
Kidding.
yeah.
I'm kidding, but
Yeah.
in theory, okay.
So
Yeah.
I'm gonna open up this computer here. Back to Windows 10, because you know we already determined we need some help there. So somebody tell me, how do I determine how this computer, the networking of this computer is configured? Is it statically configured? Is it dynamically configured? What's the DHCP server? What's the DNS server? I need all the information. Somebody walk me through that.
Can I
Well,
ask the
you want
first
to do
question
it
on
through
that?
the
Can I ask
through
the first
the-
question before you guys do that? Like, what is static and what does dynamic mean?
static is
For the
manually
IP
set.
address.
The question
Static
is,
is you set manually,
Okay.
and dynamic is automatically done by the DHCP.
Very good.
Correct.
You guys all like agree with that?
Yes.
Very good. Nice job. All right, go.
So to find it, you can do it through the command line or through the GUI. So
Okay. So which one do you want to do?
Bottom
I
left.
don't know,
search
we
button.
can both.
Sure. All right.
oh,
So you
welcome
tell
to-
me,
welcome
which one
through.
you want me to do?
Welcome
No,
through.
walk me through. Tell me.
Welcome through.
On the very bottom right of your screen, there's like a little picture of a computer there. You you can right click that. Open network and sharing center. On to the left there, you change adapter settings. Right click on Ethernet. Go to properties. And then find the IPv4. Click. There you go.
Okay. So now, what does this screen tell you?
It's saying that you have the DHCP enabled
And
and the DNS.
what about the DNS?
It's statically set.
Okay, good. Do you know why it's statically set? Or can you guess why it's statically set?
Because you set up the server yourself.
This looks like a domain computer, isn't it?
It's domain joined computer, yeah. So I
Yep, that's connected to
I
the,
made it like this
DC.
because actually the domain controller is also the DHCP and the DNS server as well. If you go back here, so in order to avoid problems, I made it static. Even though the DHCP server can give the DNS name, the DNS server as well.
Kev, not to interrupt you, Kev. Eric, you said this is DHCP, right? Just the Windows 10 machine, right? It's DHCP, right, Eric?
Yes.
Okay, what is DHCP?
Dynamic host configuration protocol. So it it sends a signal out to automatically find to give the IP address to your computer.
Okay, so what's the process of that? What's it called?
Is that the DORA?
Very good. And what does that
That's a good
stand for?
Very good.
Discovery.
Mm-hmm.
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 Something request acknowledge. I don't know what the O is.
Offer.
Offer. Okay.
Think about it like an exchange between two people. See, who are you gonna talk to?
And
I offer to
add
talk
on-
to you. You respond. I acknowledge your response.
Yeah, to add on to that, what starts the actual discovery process? The server or the host?
Repeat that question again.
What starts the actual discovery process? The server or the host?
The host.
The host. And what kind of broadcast? What kind of never mind.
Never
I
mind.
just gave it away.
You have the answer, but no, it's good though. You gave us some good answers.
Yeah.
I'm very happy because I'm very happy. You guys scared me for a second. I'm like, damn, these guys don't know what DHCP is. I'm scared now.
How about like DNS? What is that? What is that DNS?
What is DNS?
Eric.
Converting your IP
No.
address.
What does it stand for?
No. It's Steven. No, Steven. We have Ernest answer that question.
Okay. Oh,
Ernest
Ernest.
DNS, yeah.
Okay.
Domains, it's a domain server. That way we don't have to remember a bunch of jumbled up numbers. We
Jumbled
type
up
in
numbers. Those are
Yeah,
very important
like the
numbers.
IP numbers. So it's
That's
more
good.
difficult for us to remember IP numbers. So they use a domain name server so we can remember Google instead of this that. It's much easier.
I like to jumble up numbers just because if I was a person who didn't know anything about computers,
Yeah.
that's perfect.
Good, it's a good
I don't know
answer,
what I
yeah.
could do.
But here's a good one for your Ernest. What's an A record and what's a quad A record in
Uh-oh.
DNS?
Some sysadmin questions. What?
Uh-oh, here we go.
Yeah, okay.
What's
A
that?
record.
Use it every day of your lives. Every day of your lives. Every single day of your natural born lives. You use it all the time. You can
I'm on
actually
the phone.
see A records too.
I'm a phone a friend on that one. I've never.
Anybody? Anybody? Come on, you guys say you guys know DNS. I mean, there's a lot of records in there.
That's some
Service
advanced
records,
questions, man.
pointer records.
Just to make sure before we go any further and come back to this, when Eric was answering the question, you're asking who starts at the host. Is this whenever we're talking about handshakes like the SYN and the ACT? Is that what or no?
No, so this is
TCP.
Different.
that's the TCP/IP handshake. That does happen in the process of the DORA communication. Well, actually, DHCP is UDP, so that does not happen. Never mind. Or it can happen actually. DHCP and DNS can be either UDP or TCP. TCP is rare, but it is possible for that to happen. That's actually an interview question. Not for Helpdesk. That's a very advanced interview question. But usually there'd be a UDP connection to the server, but at the higher levels of the OSI stack, or the higher levels of the OSI stack, there's a DORA. So lower levels, higher, lower. I don't remember. Point is, it's at a different layer. So there's it's happening, but it's happening at a different layer. So the DORA is what you would want to go for because you're talking about the application of the ACP, not like the networking connection between the server and the host. But again, this is more advanced stuff for more advanced roles. You wouldn't have to answer that at a help desk interview.
What's
A
an
record. Does anybody know or want to take a guess?
Has anybody ever heard of an A record? Of an address record? A stands for address.
Ron looks lost right now.
Nope.
No, never. Look at that. He's pointing to one right now. It says host A.
Yeah, actually, let's find one more
I'm
obvious.
sure he could find a quad A record in there too. If you ever heard, if you guys never knew what that was.
Here you go. So you got a host DC1, you got a fully qualified domain name and an IP address. What does that tell you about what an A record is?
Ernest.
Based on this context, not knowing anything, just looking at the screen, this information, and we know that it's DNS, right? What is an A record?
The correlation between the IP address and the domain name.
Correct. That's it.
Very good.
See, you don't have to know the answer.
Very good.
You use the context around given to you, and you figure it out.
So that IP
wait.
address, is that a IP4 address or an IP6 address?
PV4.
Are you sure? Everybody else sure about that?
Oh,
Or is it IP version
wouldn't-
6?
I want to say
Yeah.
IP6 because IP4
Okay.
would be.
I would say to you guys quad
We are
4,
looking at DC1, right?
DC1. That's the
Okay.
That's just
Okay.
that's just the name of the hosting that I gave this server, dc1.kevco.vert.
Right, and the IP address you were talking about, we are talking about that particular one, right? Because I don't see any IPv6 in there.
Yeah, good. Yeah, no, he was just trying to trick you. He was asking
Okay.
if this was an IP.
Yeah.
So then the quad record for DNS is IP version 6.
So if you see like AAA, so I can make a new record.
Quad A, yeah, you guys should know
yeah.
that one too.
Well, it's not gonna. Yeah, exactly. Like I don't know, 1 or something.
And all kinds of wacky stuff. Hex, it's all in hex.
Give me a second. Ron,
Yes, sir.
what is a MAC address?
Good
It's
question.
a physical address of a unit.
What?
Sorry, my battery lock. MAC address is a physical address for any device, a unique addresses like lettering and numbering.
Okay, so where does that come from on something?
From the manufacturer.
What?
From the manufacturer, whoever built that machine.
The MAC address, where's that rely on? Where's that coming from?
What system? Like you said, it's like what was the first thing you said to identify the physical device? What part
It's
of
a
the device?
physical address, isn't it? Like for the hardware. Yep.
Okay,
What hardware?
so
What
what
hardware?
hardware? Yeah.
Because it's not just randomly to anything you buy.
Yeah, it's
Does
not
a cup-
random.
a
You're
cup
saying
doesn't have a MAC address. You know?
yeah, like I can't randomly put a MAC address on a mouse. So what is it? What's the hardware? What's the name?
Okay.
What's the name? What is it?
Huh.
We
It is
can't
gonna have to do with the. Like, I
We
know
can't
there's a
just
MAC
ran-
address.
We can't just randomly give a MAC. We can't randomly give a MAC address to something without it actually having the hardware. What's the hardware that gives it the MAC address? I want to give you the answer because I'll be,
Okay. Okay. I know the network. Sorry, the NIC card has a MAC
Yes.
address.
Yes, that's it.
Yes, awesome. That's what I
MAC
wanna hear.
address, yes, the physical address identifies the device uniquely, but it identifies the network, the device on the network. It's related to the networking. You know, do you have training or anything that like talks about the OSI model or TCP?
No, I have. I'm about to make training. You guys are scaring me.
Because it's good because that's a good way to troubleshoot as well.
For that, we can give them that a networking and network plus that we have like a huge.
Not everything, but you know, just
Like
like
basic stuff.
It's on YouTube. Like the first videos, the Kamran talks in very detail. He talks about
Yeah.
the OSI model. he showed demonstrations of, I think it's pretty good for basics if somebody wants to learn about DHCP, DNS stuff.
Because just learning about like learning how to troubleshoot using the TCP/IP model is very, very useful for a help desk position. It'll make you stand out because most people
Don't know that. They're
Don't know how
very
to do
bad
that.
at weak. They're weak at networking.
and like essentially there's two different models. There's the OSI model and the TCP/IP model, and essentially it's how data travels through the network. That's all you really need to understand. And you can see here that it separates the network out into the physical layer, the data link layer, network layer, and these are like different portions. So physical layer, you have like your cables, your switches, or not your switches, sorry, your cables, yeah, your computers, all this stuff. Your data link layer, you're gonna have your switches. Network layer, you're gonna have your routers. Transport layer, we're talking about TCP and UDP, and going up so forth. Like application layer, you'll have HTTPS and all your other application stuff like your Discord, Zoom, whatever it is. That's the basic explanation. So if you can learn to say, okay, I start at the physical layer down here and the cable's connected. Let me go look at is the switch good? Am I getting an IP address? Am I getting a connection to the server? And you work your way up, and it's a lot easier to troubleshoot that way than just randomly looking at random things, going back and forth and wasting time, essentially.
I have a question for Ron, since he knows that other question. What layer does the MAC address work at?
Oh.
And does this piece of equipment even care? Well, it cares about it, but it doesn't care about something else that we use every day of our lives too. What layer you think the MAC addresses come from? And all those layers right there, from the 1 through 7, what do you think?
Yeah, the physical layer, since it's gonna have to be connecting to the network interface card or.
So you're saying level 1?
Yep.
Was layer 1?
the
Wrong.
layer one.
You want to take another guess?
That was a good guess.
Okay.
Good guess,
Hang on
though.
a second. Now, if it's gonna have to, if you
That's
have
right
to
one.
talk with the IP address, probably the network one.
Network 1? Okay.
Uh,
So which one do you think the MAC address cares about? What layer? And it's the only thing it cares about. It's the only thing it really cares about. It doesn't care about anything else. Well, it cares about a lot of things.
Think about this. We said DHCP, the DORA process, right? It's asking for an IP address.
Right.
Before it can get an IP address, how do you think it could communicate? Like, what do you think? How can the server, DHCP server, know that this computer needs to have this IP address? Like, how does it correlate the computer to its IP address? Like that this is the computer making the request for an IP address.
Maybe it has that MAC address in its table.
Okay, so what does that tell you then? If you said the IP address is at layer 3, then where is the MAC address?
Data link.
Yeah, that's it.
And this,
Correct.
So like if you look at the DHCP server here, DHCP manager.
And Ron, if you
Before,
ever
and look at
forget that in a test, if they ever ask you anything about like a switch, like what layer does a switch work at? Is it layer 2? Just take that S, turn it around to a 2. You'll never ever forget it in your life.
There we go.
2 and an S.
So love Steve, man. Steve like
Yeah.
creates shortcuts for everything.
You'll never ever forget it. It's just
So if you look,
that's the way I passed it.
if you look here, there's the DHCP like lease. You can see here that this computer has this IP address, and this is the unique ID, which is going to be the MAC address. Really, is what it is. It's essentially, and right, is it actually? Let me make sure I'm not a Windows person.
Go ahead.
Yeah, that is MAC address. Yeah, and then
confirm.
yeah. So, and actually, follow-up question: what happens when this lease expires?
Another good question.
And there's certain levels of it. You got
Like how can if this lease expires and for whatever reason it doesn't blank, how do I fix it? Like how do I get a new lease?
renew and release it from the
DNS
command prompt.
flash.
DNS what?
plus DNS.
DNS. We're talking about DHCP here.
Yeah, I thought we don't we like release it and renew it.
Okay, but how do I do that?
IP config. On the keyboard, press Window and R. That will give you the run command. Type CMD.
Okay, I can't hit that button. It's not working.
All right, IP config, front slash, release.
Okay, so now if I go back, I don't think, does it update? Okay, so you see, I no longer have the lease. I released the lease. Now,
Let's IP config, front slash, renew.
that's it.
All right.
And now if I go back to the server, refresh again, there's my new lease again. And this expires in really fast, actually. Yeah, that's it. Real simple. With these leases, why do we have these leases? Does anybody know why this exists? Why does it expire and everything? Anybody take a guess as to why you would want, why these leases are a thing?
Probably we don't want it to stay connected all the time and use the broadband resources, or maybe gem.
You're close.
Yeah.
Yeah, resources. What kind of resources?
The IP bandwidth.
No, if it, just by having a DHCP address, there's no bandwidth being used. There's no data being
Okay.
exchanged. It is a resource. It's just that's just the wrong resource. Can anybody else take
Yeah.
a guess?
It could be like, what if we need that IP address for some other devices, and if it's not
Exactly.
being used, why keep it occupied?
Exactly. So you have a limited amount of IP addresses. If you have 100 devices, for example, and they're all using, or let's say, we'll make it easier. You have 260 devices, right? And you only have 255 addresses. You're eventually going to run out. And those 260 devices don't necessarily have to be on all the time, right? So maybe like half of them are off. So you don't, if you then turn on the other half and then turn off the other half, then you're gonna be out of IP addresses. You're gonna have a problem. Versus if the lease just expires, you'll just have enough IP addresses for everybody. And that's actually a problem that you'll see. If you ever see a computer that's struggling to connect and obtain an IP address, and you're like in a large event space, there's a lot of people, or perhaps you're in your office and there's a lot of people connecting to the network, you might see that it'll connect to the internet and then it'll suddenly disconnect, or it will fail to connect to the internet. Even though you typed everything right, everything's configured correctly, wiring's good, what's possible that is happening is that the DHCP scope has run out of addresses. This is something you won't have to deal with, but it's something to be aware of, because it's something you might see if something is misconfigured. Maybe there's not enough access points, or maybe there's the DHCP scope is too small. There's a lot of different problems that can happen related to these kinds of things.
And I want to add one more thing onto that. We actually ran into this problem at the hospital. We were doing PC refreshes there, and we were at the one site, and we were redoing the people's computers, and we got up to this one computer, and we found out that but like two people were like, what's going on here? We can't get any more IP addresses. Like, what the heck's going on here? But we were in the middle of doing PC refreshes, right, at that site. And what happened is that the machines that were still active and on, we did not release the IP addresses off those machines. They were still in the pool yet, right? So when we hit the new machines, we were like, what the heck's going on? Why weren't we getting any IP addresses? And then we found out from the networking guys, oh, you guys ran out of IP addresses. Are you guys releasing the IP addresses back to the pool before you guys do the, like, no, we're not. And that's what kind of saved our bacon. We're like, so we had to release them to get more IP addresses for the new machine to get up online. So, the IP addresses do run out. I mean, and I've seen that live because that's the first time I ever ran into that. And we were all like scratching our heads, and they said, well, yeah, you guys are all out of IP addresses. It's like, I guess they call that DHCP exhaustion. I think that's what it's called.
Yep.
So that does happen. I mean, and we were shocked, but once we released all those IP addresses that were on the old machines, we were able to get those new machines back online, and everybody was happy again. So
and that goes that goes back to fundamentals. Like you need to know about that. What if you're in a job and helping a user or a client and they're not getting an IP address, right? And then you're talking to a network admin or a sysadmin, like, I need you to release the address. And they tell you that I need to release the address, right? You're like, what the hell is that? You know, you got to know how to do that. So
yeah, and it's important because I encountered it very early on. I think it was like 6 months into my new job. I was doing some volunteering at last time actually. I was doing some volunteering even before. No, it was before I even started working in IT. Actually, I was volunteering at a local convention, and we had hundreds of computers connecting to this network. I mean hundreds, because every company that came in, they had their own computers, they had their own like demos and whatnot, and suddenly the computers want to connect to the network, and I'm like, what's going on here? And I'm confused because I don't know what's happening, and turns out we were just running out of IP addresses. So the computers would connect, and then suddenly they would disconnect, and then computers that were connected before would start disconnecting as their leases expired, and then other computers would connect. And I'm like, yo, what's going on here? Another thing to keep in mind is that's partly why when you work at a job and people are asking, hey, can you connect my phone to the Wi-Fi? Don't do it. One, because IT policy could actually get you in trouble for that because of security reasons. But two, because those IP addresses are probably pretty well planned out, right? This scope is for these number of clients, and you start adding random phones, you start exhausting the IP space, and it can be problematic.
So guys, if something does not get an IP address, what IP address does it get if it cannot contact that DHCP server? What IP address will it assign to itself? And is it a public or private? Is it a public or private IP address?
169 something. That's the PIPA, right?
A PIPA, isn't it? Yep.
Very good. Is that a public or a private?
Private.
Private. And what's it for?
So you can still talk to computers like in your internal network. You just can't reach out onto the internet outside the network.
Very good.
You guys are Heyfa. What's up?
So I wanted to, hi everyone, I'm Heyfa. It's nice to meet you all. So I wanted to give you guys a funny story and learn from my mistakes, my early tech mistakes. One of the first tickets I got for someone was she was having an issue and I needed to release her IP and renew it. Right. Thing is, she was remote. That's back when we were working, well, at my old job when we were all remote. So I did this through TeamViewer, and obviously you can imagine because I released the IP, it disconnected her from the internet. And she was a much, much, much older client. I think she was like in her, I think she was in her late 60s. So she really didn't understand anything. And I didn't have her phone number. So I just had to wait for her to figure out to like restart her computer. And then she came back online. But yeah, please do not release anyone's IP address if they are not in the office with you. Or if you are going to release it, at least give them a heads up and say, hey, I'm going to do this command, give it like 2 minutes, and then please restart your machine. If they are remote and that's what you feel like you need to do.
This is the alternative. I was trying to remember because I think it's a little bit different, but not different, it's the same. But this thing, 2 ampersands in the command line, literally means and. Like that's literally what it stands for. You don't type and on the command line. You do this. So if you do ipconfig and ipconfig/renew, even though it'll release it, afterwards it'll renew it once this command is successful. Obviously, if this command fails, then this isn't gonna run. But that's a risk you're gonna have to take. And again, you do what Heyfa said and ask them to then reboot their computer if that happens.
You know, I would honestly, just in case it does fail, I would just say, hey, I'm going to run this command. Please give your machine like 2 minutes and then go ahead and restart it for me. And that will remove that fault altogether, if just in case like something doesn't go through.
Heyfa and Diaz, you guys know running, I mean, sometimes I run the diagnostics command as well inside there, and I don't know if that catches it really quickly the same thing, but will that knock it out too? Or you think that that will also drop it off the network as well?
What diagnostic command?
There's a diagnostic command you can run from if you click on your the little Windows looking.
Oh, it's about the Windows diagnostic.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Because that will also flush it out and renew it right away too. It'll actually run it. And I don't know if it does drop it off the network quickly enough, or it just might catch it quickly enough to.
Well, I mean, as long as you get your IP address back, you might have to restart your remote session, but it'll probably be fine.
Stephen, with my experience, if it catches it quick enough, you're only going to get a temporary lag in the connection. You should be fine afterwards. You
Okay.
won't have to reconnect. But also, again, it depends on how quickly it picks it back up.
All right, cool.
And how picky the software is, how reliable it is. Like,
'Cause I tried that. a couple times.
certain software is very good about that. Like Zoom or Discord, sorry. Even if you lose network connectivity, like for example, it's pretty reliable in keeping you connected to whatever thing you're on. If you're on a voice channel, it's not going to kick you. It'll leave you in there for like a good bit. That's just an example.
I think we covered a lot today. What do you guys think?
I have one more question. Just one.
Okay.
More.
Okay.
I need somebody to tell me how to get the group policy from this machine. And it can't be Ron or Eric because they've answered a lot of questions today.
No Ron, no Ernest, and no Eric.
So either Leisha or Huygens or Sanchit, who's been quiet.
Don't make us pick your name.
Come on.
Come on, guys.
Don't be shy. We have all been there, and I would probably answer this question wrong anyway. So please don't be shy.
Oh, I don't actually remember the command.
How about Leisha? How about that? We'll pick her. You can do it. Come on. Oh yeah, there you go. There you go.
You got this. What was the question?
How do I get the group policy that's on this machine? How do I see the policies?
The group policy.
Multiple ways to do it. I can do it from here, from the command prompt, or I can use the UI.
Give me a moment. I think I wrote this down.
That's totally fine. Like, we're okay with that.
Okay. Is it net user username / domain?
No.
No, that's not it.
So we're trying to find a
net
group
logo
policy.
group? Is it net local groups?
No. So when it comes to the net command, usually you're not going to find it in there. There's going to be more information related to technically there is group policy stuff there, but that's not where you're going to see the actual group policies themselves. Like group policy affects the output of those commands. Yes, technically, right? If you run like one of the net user commands and you can see like the expiration and for passwords and stuff like that, but that's not going to give you all the group policies. Anybody? Yeah,
You guys for help. You can help out.
Yeah, like Huygens and Sancho, you guys can help out.
Yeah, you guys can help out. You could even Google it while she's trying to figure out the answer. Try to
Start with server manager.
Server manager.
Excuse me, sir,
I'm on
not
my
you.
Windows.
Not allowed.
Oh, sorry, I was trying to help.
No, I'm joking.
It's because you guys answered a lot of the questions, so I want to. But we're on the Windows 10 computer. You can't go to Server Manager for me.
Yeah, how do you do it on the command line? What do you type?
And you can use the UI as well. You just got to know what to find.
Like what if a sysadmin, right? Like Heyfa, right? Sysadmin. She's like, I need you to tell me.
Systems engineer, sir.
Okay. You tell me. I need you to tell me what policies are on this PC because I see it's not running the policies on it. So what do you run? What command do you run to see the policies? What is it? What's the
Or what
command?
can I search in here as well? If you can't figure that out.
Can I guess?
Was that?
All right.
Can anyone guess?
Isn't
Yeah,
it
I'll open it up. Yeah.
GP result?
GP
GP edit,
result.
GP
Result. Result.
GP edit,
Yeah.
GP edit.
But I don't,
Somebody said GP edit.
GP
Try that.
Okay, GP edit. Okay.
That's
And
local group policy,
Oh, cool. Okay.
but we want domain, right?
Mhm.
Is that correct? We want domain group policy?
Yep.
Yes.
Actually, there's no,
Anyone?
there's no.
It's open on the floor now. Anyone?
Okay. GP.
What do you type?
he gave us part of it, so it's a matter of finding what the
What
option is, right?
what do those commands do? Like, what do you see?
Okay, so they're like a man page, right? To give you instructions on them.
What you see all those commands? What do they do? Like, what's going on here?
It's some kind of management console, I think.
Okay,
if I'm not
so
mistaken. I don't know.
you go back up. You passed it up. So it's gonna be /u. Domain.
Just that? Only that?
Yeah, so GP GP edit and then /u.
Oh, this is the GP result help page, sorry.
Which that's a pretty cool command, by the way, that GP.
But you're still missing part of it. Lowercase u or uppercase u?
The man page said u lowercase u, so that's what I would.
Doesn't exist.
Okay.
Trick question with
It's
you
uppercase
have to
U.
put
Yeah.
the domain name in there?
But still, we're still missing stuff. How do you read this? This is the parameter. And then this is what the actual
Domain names.
the actual
the
value
domain.
of this parameter.
Yeah, you get it.
So when you see this parameter listing, right? It's not just you're just adding the thing. It's you need to add the value to the
Mhm.
parameter. When you see these here, there's nothing like after these. These you can run alone. So if I run GP results /r, I don't need to add something after /r. But for these, it's telling you need to add the file name. You need to add domain / the user or just user. So if I say GP result /u something like that. In this case, actually, I think.
Domain.
Hold on. Be specified and such as. Oh, okay. Even again, reading the errors. /u can be specified only when /s is specified. So /s means system, specifies a system to connect to. So that means that that command works only when you're using a remote system. So I can say instead here, just to give the answer, it's /r. That'll give us the report of this user that I'm logged into right now. If you go up here, it says displays our SOP summary data. And it's going to create a report now with all the group policies that are applied to the system. And here's other stuff you can do, right? You can save it to an HTML file, or you can redirect, use output redirection to send the output of this command to a file as well, using the angle bracket. So if I do something such as GP results /r, and I do this character, and then I type a file name, so gpo.txt or something. It's gonna put all the output of this command into gpo.txt. I can also like specify a path, so I can say I'm gonna put it in my C drive or something like that.
I think by default, doesn't it put it on the root of C?
Wherever your
directory is.
Wherever your directory is.
Oh, so it's under your user profile. Okay.
So in this case, users administrator, because that's where it opened.
And I know that we're going over a lot of stuff today, but some stuff here you may need to know about it, because they're gonna ask you like, oh, what policy is being run on that computer? I don't think the policy is running in that PC. That's strange,
And yeah, this GPU result thing is really, really cool, guys. You can do it remotely with people in PowerShell. I do it all the time to solve problems and say if they have the group, the groups and all that stuff. It's really, really neat.
And the other thing is, there's another command that we won't go over, but that you need to know, which lets you refresh and kind of like get the new policies. That's also very important. I don't remember what it is because again, I don't work with Windows.
GP update /force.
There we go.
These are every day.
That's something that you can use. You may have to use that a few times to troubleshoot some problems. Maybe like a change happened, or maybe all the group policies are going to get downloaded, something weird like that. You can go run GP update and get the new policies. Maybe there's some new permissions added or new background. I don't know, whatever it is, and you can change the group policies that way.
I have one cool thing for you guys. With Kevtech put out a video a while ago.
It's not going to finish wrong.
What is the command line to get to Active Directory users and computers through the command line? How do you open it up without going to start or have an icon on your desktop? What is the quickest way of doing it through the actual command prompt? If you had like, RSAT tools on there and stuff like that, what is the command? I use that now a lot too, because I don't want to click. So I just use it and bam, it just opens right up. What is the trick to that of getting to Active Directory users and computers through the command prompt? There's three keys you have to hit to get to it. And it works flawlessly. It really works very, very cool. It's been around for ages, apparently, but Kevtech taught me this, and I've been using it ever since. Because he's like, oh, wow, you could do that. I'm like, no. All of a sudden, whammo. I'm like, whoa, that's cool. Anybody know?
DSA.
Ooh.
Who said that?
Google Foo.
There we go.
Oh.
Eric's like,
in that case,
Eric's like, wow, is that it? All you got to do? DSA?
In that case, you don't even have to open the command prompt. You just can do run. Usually, a lot of commands that you run in the command line, you can run them in run as well. Just in case you didn't know that. Like run is literally just executing executables, and command line is just executables. Honestly,
I abuse that. I abuse the hell out of.
Actually, interesting.
You can't open that up.
That's an interesting one.
Ooh.
Wow. Nice.
Wait.
Well, okay, I'll cheat. There we go.
There we go.
Okay, that worked.
That worked. No, I was gonna say I abuse the living hell out of the run command because sometimes the start menu don't work.
Yeah.
And in some jobs I have worked, in my current job too, like I have issues where I'm helping a user, right? And the start menu does not want to work.
There we go. You have to add .msc.
.msc,
Oh, is that what it is?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I abuse the hell out of the run command because I'm clicking the start menu, it doesn't work. I can't search anything. I can't do anything on the start menu. And I'm like, you know what? I'm just gonna do run.
Did you guys know that if you guys hold down that Control Shift on the left-hand side, you can open up applications in admin mode, or you can open up in admin. Like if you open up a command prompt, and actually open it up in admin mode without going right-clicking and go into run as administrator, it will actually open up as a administrator prompt. Did you guys know that? If you drag something down there to the thing, and just if you hold down the Control and Shift, the left one, and then just hit and just click on it, it'll open it up in admin mode right away. It's kind of like a little trick. I learned this week from Rob. Yeah, look at that.
Wait, what?
Isn't that cool?
Oh, it is. Wait, what?
There you go, Kev. You can.
No, it's not. It's not opening in.
Oh, it's not Control
Shift.
Control Shift. They say together. Yeah, I think it's Control Shift. I don't think it's Alt Shift. I thought it was Control Shift.
I know what you're talking about.
I thought it was Control Alt Shift.
No, I thought it was Control Shift.
I think it's Control Alt Shift, and you can't do it from the taskbar. You have to do it from the actual application.
No, I think I just opened up mine in there from holding down the Control Shift key.
This is an older Windows.
Maybe because you're on a
Which Control Shift are you holding down? On the right side or the left side?
The left side.
Nobody uses the right side, to be honest. I don't think I've ever used the.
It's the left side.
Okay.
And then when I click on the command prompt, she opens up in admin mode. And if I don't do it, it comes up in regular.
I think
underscore.
I think we'll wrap it up because we're going over a lot of stuff today.
System 32.
So, you guys have any questions?
Does anyone have any questions?
Sorry, I wanted to ask a question real quick on the PDQ. Because I tried installing two applications at the same time. So I created a package with Firefox and Google Chrome, but I already had the Google Chrome installed already in my machine. How does that, like, you know, and then I was like, I was trying to do that both and then see what it does. And the first program on the package was supposed to be Google Chrome, and the second was supposed to be Firefox. And when I deployed that thing, it took forever. I was not trying to do the silent install. I was just a regular one.
Are you watching my YouTube video, or are you following something that Danish gave you?
It was more of the Danish's one.
Oh, okay.
But I mean, but out of curiosity, like, and so I downloaded the Google Chrome installer in Firefox, and I was trying to deploy it at the same time. But in some of my machines, I already have the Google Chrome. So, and then it was taking forever because it took about 4, 5, 6 minutes even just to initiate the first install. Was that because it detected that the Google Chrome was already installed on the machine? Because we're not updating it. I was just trying to install that on it.
I'm kind of confused though, Ron. So you were using PDQ, or what were you using?
Okay, so I downloaded the PDQ and then I created a package, right? Okay. So on my virtual machine, when I'm talking about home lab, like I'm talking about my own machine, I do have configure a virtual router. That way I have internet connectivity on my server and all my machines. So I've got 3 different machines were connected to the server. So through the server, I was trying to deploy that Google Chrome and Firefox. And in some of my machines, I already had the Google Chrome. So I was curious what it does. So I created a new package with the Google Chrome as the first application to install. And then there's a second line you can add, you know, if you have an additional thing that you want to install. So I selected Firefox on that one. So when I saved that and then when I deployed that thing, I mean, it looked like it was connecting, but you know, I mean, it was not doing anything for a long time. So I canceled
what was
that.
the status when you say connecting? But did it completely finished? Did it say successful? No.
Nope. It didn't even start copying or, you know,
okay, so
anything like that.
Means your server, for some reason, the PDQ, for some reason can't access the client.
Yeah, there we go.
So it's basically you have to show that error and try to see how you can troubleshoot that, because if the error says it tried for a long time, what it did, it tried to do kind of like a ping. So how you ping, right? You ping and it's doing, it's pinging, and at the end it fails. So if it says it failed, and it should give you some kind of error code or message that computer could not be reached, right? Or did it say the package failed? If it says the package failed, that's a different thing then.
Yeah, it did not. Maybe I was not patient enough to, you know, wait. It
Yeah,
took like 6 minutes and such.
Yeah.
So what I did next was, so I removed that Google Chrome out of that. I edited the package. So I only had Firefox on that one. And then it went through really fast, like on 3 of them.
Okay, so now you say the Firefox went through, but Google Chrome didn't went through.
Right.
Okay, so this is not a connection issue anymore. That should give you the answer of there's no connection issue. It's you putting the package in certain way. Maybe you either put a space in /s or the silent, whatever the Chrome uses. I forgot what do they use. So first find out that if you're putting out the right, like if you put the Chrome in there, if you check the package right below it, there should be a command already added to that. So if the command doesn't have any silent switch in it, this means it is just spinning. It's not doing anything, right? It says, what do you want me to do to the computer? What do you want me to do? What command do you want me to apply? Am I going to put myself as a silent? What do you want me to do, right? So if it doesn't have that command added, then it will just spin, and it will fail and go to a second package if you have it configured that way. Now, my way of troubleshooting with that would be create a brand new package, don't add Firefox to it, and then first go to internet and find out what is the Chrome switch for silent install. You can really easily find that. And then make sure you exactly copy the way it is, like with when it says chrome.exe space that silent switch, whatever it is, /s/qn, I'm not sure. So you add that and then try it, and then see if it works.
Okay, I'll try that one. I was just wondering, like, maybe if it already detected, like, in some of the machines, maybe
It should still
saw,
say
like,
successful. It should still give you some kind
Okay.
of message that
Okay.
it would probably say duplicate exists or something like that. It should
okay.
not just fail, you know.
All
The
right.
the only time it spins or any deployments, even if you do group policy deployment, every time you have to put some type of, you have to tell the server, what do you want me to do with it? There has to be some type of command line or a switch or a value. What do you call that, Kevin Diaz, in a coding terms? You have to say that to the computer that you want me, what do you want me to do next? So you have to add that value to it.
Yeah, it's just you can call it a switch. Yeah, switch is probably it's a good word to use.
So, and then if it's still failing, maybe show the screenshot so that
flag.
everybody can see what's going on with this.
Okay, we'll do that. Thank you.
So I kind of had a question like regarding that too. So do you always have to put in like a silent command or some kind of command? Because like when I was doing it, like
Yes.
sometimes,
Yes.
okay, because like in my home lab when I was doing it, like I would just select, I don't remember which one it was, Chrome or Firefox, one that was already like in the library. Maybe it's because it was already in the library, but I didn't put any type of command in it automatically.
If it's so PDQ is pretty smart. So if you put a package in there, most likely 90% of the time it will create a switch for it. So they either have a file already included for those type of applications that are commonly used, or if you put it on from library, that's definitely going to add, because their library is built for silent deployments. Now, the question for, do you have to do a silent? Well, it depends though, because
application,
most of the time you have to do silent, and the reason for that is that you don't want to be deploying an application to clients and then having them click on something like say, so well, in some cases you may have to do that for privacy or a legal reasons. For example, I was deploying a accounting software to about 1,200 people, right? And the requirement for that accounting software was that these people have to see an agreement, or else we cannot deploy it like that, right? We can't just push out an application without, like, we're going to be accepting the agreement for them, right? We can't do that. So when you do deployments like that, and that's basically not a Helpdesk job at all, by the way, when you do a package editing and package deployments, in most cases, Helpdesk usually don't touches this unless somebody teach you, unless somebody give you a documentation and make that a process of your kind of, like I said, a regular thing. And somebody will teach you this stuff, right? Package editing, package deployments is usually, a lot of people become SCCM experts and they make a huge amount of money by doing this kind of stuff.
Yep.
So when I got that package, I created a script, or you will create a MST files. These are different type of files you can create for these type of deployments. So when you deploy it basically calls that file first. So the application say, which file am I basically gonna, after deployments, which file am I gonna basically open up first before I do the final step? So it's gonna open that script or whatever that is, right? So the script will show on your screen. If they say, yes, I agree to the terms, the application go ahead. If they say no, then the application stops right away. So it depends, but most likely, yes, you're going to be doing silent, because if you're looking at the Helpdesk calls right now and somebody call you, Eric, hey man, my Chrome is outdated. Can you update it for me? So two ways you're going to do it, right? One, you're going to either walk and go and do it for them, or maybe you remote in, or maybe you have some type of product like PDQ or SCCM, and you're going to say, yeah, hold on, John, I'm going to do this right now. So just stay on the line. Hey, all right, I'm deploying it right now. It's done. Can you recheck it? Can you open the Chrome? Is it up to date? Yeah, it's just got updated. Thank you so much. That's all. But that type of deployment you don't do, like, you don't want them to see it, right? Because then they're going to be stuck in the like, if you just deploy it without silent switch, then it's just going to be open screen, and then John is like sitting there like, what do you want me to do right now? Now John went on a lunch, Now you got stuck, right? So it's always silent most likely.
Yeah, a lot of the times it's the where you hit next. Usually the silent install switch basically gets rid of that. Not always, but usually that's.
And it's good practice to have that, because obviously we don't just randomly install stuff, especially from a cybersecurity perspective. If you're gonna get into
let me ask you a question, guys. I want to ask a question. This is something that I really put this on the spot on the video. So you're a brand new person. You work in a building. Okay, I'm going to test two things right here. Everybody, you work in a building, and you work on the 4th floor. This guy is on the 1st floor, or a lady, Monica. I like Monica. I don't know, for some reason we always use Monica. Okay.
Yeah, Monica.
So if Monica calls you and she say, "Hey guys, I need a Firefox updated on my machine," so I'm gonna ask Eric. Eric, if you are a brand new person in that company, you just started, this is your first week, Monica called you, and you somehow thought that from JSS Kevtech training, I know how to deploy this software to Monica. Ah, cool, man, I can do this. I have PDQ. What is your process of updating that software? What would you do? You got two options. You know you are a brand new person, number one. Keep that in your mind. And you know you have PDQ on your machine. Monica called you, I want to Firefox update it. How would you take that call?
So she already has Firefox, you're saying? And she just needs
Yeah,
an update?
let's say she have it, she doesn't have it. It doesn't matter. The call is right now, she doesn't have Firefox, let's say. She wants a Firefox. Okay. And she called you. Hi, Eric. I need Firefox on my machine. I'm on 1st floor. By the way, how are you? My name is Monica. I am from the 1st floor. It's your 2nd week. Welcome to our company. Okay, cool. So what would you do?
I would tell her to maybe hold on, and you would have to check to see if it's approved to be able to have that application.
Okay, you have on the right side, you have Ron saying, "Hey, Ron, this software is being requested. Is this something that I can go ahead and push it out?" Yeah, we have a list. So next time, please check this list. Don't call me again. No, he's not gonna say that. He's gonna say, Ron is gonna say, yeah, we have a list. We have a list. But yeah, it's approved. Go ahead and you can take care of it. And he didn't say anything after that. He said, go ahead and take care of it. And he's looking at you right now. Ron has been there for 6 years, by the way. And he's like, let me see what he does.
I'm not sure.
All right. Anybody else?
I mean, if I were him, I would go there. I mean, since you're new, it's networking. Get to know people.
That's the point. Let me tell you guys. If you're brand new to a company and you're the entry-level person and you just started with these people who's been there for 10 years and 6 years, the skills that you guys are learning is definitely some cool stuff. But naturally, and the trend in IT and the people who works around you, they observe you. Okay, they have built communication with these staff members. They have built their ratings with these people. They don't want to just bring somebody in and then it's like, oh, I know everything cool stuff and I'm just going to start deploying stuff. Well, did you know their process first? What if they do approach their customers? They do care about these customers a little bit more than what you were trained for. Meaning skillfully you can deploy it, right? You have the skill, you can deploy it. But here's the customer service part. This is where the department is being known for helping their customers, and we go to their place and we smile with them, and we do all kinds of stuff. If let's say you didn't do that, that's where you got a little I will be raising up towards you like, man, Eric just started deploying things right away without introducing herself to Monica, right? So you see, I'm just giving you some tricks where basically that I have seen working for 15 years. This is how people work with each other in IT. So I'm not saying that you shouldn't deploy a software. If Ron is saying that to you, yeah, go ahead and use PDQ. We use PDQ. You already kind of like, okay, that's cool. But for your own benefit, for your own growth, always try to communicate with your users, because these guys are directors, managers, you know, some top level people. And when you make that connection will take you up in IT very quickly in the same companies.
I was gonna say, like Ron gave you the good answer, and that's how it is in IT. You gotta physically go there and show your face if you're brand new to IT. You don't wanna be there sitting, not be productive at all, not show your face. You know, you're building a relationship. It's a relationship with the clients. You gotta physically be there and show them that you're there, and show them that you mean business, and show them that you're serious about learning. And the whole team's gonna look at you like you're lazy if you don't go and physically meet the person as well, because
Okay.
I had that experience.
Now let's twist it a little more now. Okay. So, well, what about if you're not working for a on-premises type of company and you just got a call that we need the Firefox installed on 300 machines, and that is your job right now? What would you do then? Anyone? And they need it like by 3 o'clock. Oh my God, I got it only like freaking 6 hours. Because
You would still do the
Firefox
same thing
have a big
yourself?
vulnerability, and the big vulnerability is that people get hacked when they open Firefox, and you guys have to immediately update Firefox.
I think the process is still the same. You still have to get permission to do it.
Okay, you call somebody from here, Sanchit, you call him if he's here. Yeah. And he's saying, I am the boss. Go ahead, do it. What would you do? You have PDQ in front of you. You got the package. And you got 300 machines added to your system. What would you do?
Maybe test on one first, because we don't
Man, Ron, you're
have-
killing it today. What's going on, bro?
Nice, Ron.
I don't give a. I mean, I was gonna say.
I was thinking along the line of
I'll
doing
take it
it.
back a little bit. I don't
I was
care
thinking-
how good you are. I don't care how badass you get in IT. I don't care how much experience you get. But if I give you a package and you deploy it without testing it, trust me, that would be almost your last day in that company. Almost.
I'll
was
give you
going
a
to-
real world example.
Yeah.
There was a vulnerability in this package in Linux. I had to patch a bunch of servers. Still working on that, actually. And what was the first thing I did? I know this isn't going to disrupt anything. I know it's not going to break anything. But I went to the system. I made a test system, replicated the situation, did the update, saw that nothing happened, deployed it to our testing environments first, then went to the next environment, and then the last thing I did was update all of our actual production servers. Basically scaling out the rollout of this update to make sure that things are working properly at a lower level so that they don't go affect people. And then now people are getting paged because things are going down and breaking because now I did an update and it broke everything. So you always got to be careful. That's something that you always have to do, is test things before you make big changes.
Yeah. And I did a total opposite from Diaz. I deployed it to computers and I didn't test it, and almost hundreds of computers have a blue screen going on the next day.
Jesus.
But because I was a one-man IT show, nobody said anything to me, and I fixed it the next whole night. I was sitting there trying to fix things. So, of course, those are mistakes that people do. People think that once you become pretty good in IT, you start to think a little bit ahead, and hey, I know how to fix things. I'm gonna do it. But the problem is, it's not a fixing. It's gonna impact your team. It's gonna impact the people. It's gonna impact you yourself. When you do something like that, it's really hard to recover from it, and you're gonna spend so much time fixing that, and it's gonna hit you hard. So never get to that point where you start thinking ahead of yourself, where you feel like, okay, now I know how to do deployments, I know how to do troubleshooting in Active Directory, blah blah blah, and you know some cool things to do in IT, because there's going to be always one day that things are going to go bad. And if you don't have that kind of mindset, or you're not a person who does testing like Kev Diaz, you will get stuck for sure. And I can write on that. I can guarantee on that, basically, because in IT, there's nothing that nobody show me one example from anybody over here that had more than 10 years of experience, and they say my IT 10 years is a perfection. I have never came across any problems. I have never did a mistake. Then I will say, there you go. You got a new award from me.
So I'll say that two things. Well, first off, on that last note that you just said, one of the first things that one of the senior team members on my team said is there was a problem going on, and we were joking around. And he said, "Yeah, you at some point you will break production. It doesn't matter if it's now. It doesn't matter if it's 5 years from now. At some point, you will break the production systems, and you will cause a bunch of problems. It's inevitable. Nobody's perfect. That's just how it is. But the other thing is, another thing with the whole scenarios that we're getting here is it's not just the customer's view, it's your team's view. If you come in and you start doing all kinds of crazy stuff as a brand new person, you're not going to have a good relationship with your team. They're going to think, who is this guy who thinks he knows everything? He doesn't know our setup. He doesn't know the problem. And maybe you change something and there's a reason things are a certain way. There's a specific reason why, for example, they use this kind of convention that may be different from what's the recommended way. You don't know. You're new. You want to do your work. You want to be able to progress, but also you need to walk the line, and you need to be willing to learn from other people and understand. I can't just start going crazy day one just because I'm an expert. You're not an expert. You're an expert at the things that you know. You're not an expert at the company's way of doing things. You don't know anything.
I always say that to a lot of people, that when people, they're good at their stuff. For example, if somebody says, Danish, oh, you got 15 years of experience, you're teaching me this stuff, you must be an expert in everything. I'm like, what company do you work for? I work for this company. How many months have you worked in this company? 6 months. I'm like, you are more expert in your company than me.
Yep.
I don't know your systems, dude. I don't know anything about your systems. I mean, how can I be an expert of your systems, right? So the thing is this, yes, the people who are more experienced may have more confident and may have seen more scenarios than you, but that doesn't make us experts. The good tip in this is that, and I think a slick trick a lot of time that I use it with my own member, and probably Heyfa is probably one of those when she was doing training with me. I tell people that go in a company with the mindset or having to let them consider you to be a learning person. Like, oh, you're coming here. Oh, we can teach you. Oh yeah, I want to learn more. Even though you are so good at that stuff, you can always shine when it's the right time. Meaning, if there's a project and they give it to you, you do that project perfectly. You do it like, wow, you just, like, for example, how did I become a sysadmin from Helpdesk? Why is that? I mean, why the other 4 people didn't become sysadmin, even they wanted to become? Why? Because I brought things to the table when it was time for projects. For example, like, let's create a deployment solution. This deployment solution is very tedious. I'm going to make it easy. So I'm going to create these scripts and blah, 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 blah. And they know, okay, this level of skills is a little higher than us. So automatically your coworkers are going to start pushing you towards where you want to go then. And they start respecting you, right? Not that you want to be cocky or you want to show it off, that you wanted to do it for them. So make their life easy. And trust me, that the same people are going to push you ahead.
Yep.
The great tip in this is that if you go to a company and you're brand new, always present yourself. You want to learn from that other sysadmin. And if the other person is a coworker, let's say a help desk, and he's there for 6 years, trust me, that person is your master right there. If, let's say, you're doing the same job and that person is doing it for 6 years, that person knows a lot more than you, not because of technology, not because of skills. Maybe you know modern stuff, but that person knows a lot more about how their packages, their systems and everything works, like really ins and out. So what do? You present yourself to that person that I'm new and I will be learning from you. If it hurts your ego, then you got a problem. It shouldn't, right? If that person, if your skill set is way above that, like let's say you have some modern skills, you have learned some cool stuff from JSS or Kevtech and everything, and you go there with that ego that, look, this person is, man, come on, this person's like, he's not getting updated, man. I know more than this person, blah, 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 right? So you got a problem there. Because if you go there and you ask this person, look, I'm going to be learning from you, man. I joined this company. This is my first job. He's going to teach you so much because of that. Just because you have opened up, just because you have shown respect to someone who's been there for 6 years. And then slowly, slowly move up. I mean, I'm not saying you should be staying there for 6 years just like other person, but I'm saying is that always keep that in mind. This is a little culture inside how IT people work, by the way.
No, I'll give another example. There was this, when I first joined the company, I was being taught, I was shadowing this person how to install a new server. Now I do that on my own. Like now that's part of what I do. He left the company, but before that, I was shadowing him. What he was showing me was how to add DHCP and DNS records. The way he was doing it was using software that I have spent till 2, 3 a.m. in Kevtech's Discord multiple nights doing these kinds of configurations. I could do this in my sleep, basically. I was still watching him doing it, and I still asked him questions. Why do you do this? Why do you have this specific IP convention? Just because you know doesn't mean you know. And now the other thing is, you do still want to let people know that you have certain skills so that they can let you work on other more advanced things, right? So at the same time, when I'm in the Slack channel and I see something that's interesting, I may not have 100% context, but I can say, hey, is there any documentation you can read? Or, hey, I know this. Is this a reason why you're doing it this way? Or I can ask questions that are relevant to the topic and kind of work my way into it, and maybe either get maybe they teach me something about that thing that I want to learn about, or perhaps I can maybe become part of that work. Or even if I don't become part of that work, it just gives people a chance to see that you're interested. And then in the future, maybe they'll let you in. And that's happened to me with a few different technologies now, where I've been brought in to work on these things that I'm not a part of because I'm curious and I put myself out there and I ask about these things. Just Friday, I'm not going to work on this project, but they were looking to research building a router with extremely high bandwidth based on Linux instead of buying one off the rack, and whether that's good compared to the expensive things you can buy from the vendors. That's the networking team's job. That's not my job. But they opened it up and said, hey, if anybody has any context, we'd like some ideas. And so I contribute my ideas there. Even if it's not my project, it gives people an opportunity to see, hey, he's interested, he's looking, maybe we can bring him into these conversations. And it gives me an opportunity to learn as well from them. Hey, why are we looking for this? Why have you looked into this other technology? And it gives you more context of understanding why the company does things certain ways. So just learn from people around you, and have a good rapport with your team. Don't feel like, or don't try to be the know-it-all. Nobody likes that person. You'll just be ousted. You'll just be the person working in the corner alone, and that's not good.
All right, so I think next time when we meet, like I said, I'm gonna spin up those JSS servers. I love those because those are like the hot seat servers, and we're gonna throw you in, and you will be just creating some good stuff in that, and we'll say, hey, create this, create that, maybe fix it, fix that, and it's gonna be real tickets. Hopefully, if everything is good, I'm gonna try to make it like, for next week. But if not, then don't kill me on that, because it is a lot of work. So
Oh man, I'm good, man.
We'll try to do that. Okay, so next week you guys are getting ready for some real tickets.
You guys should be applying for jobs too as we're doing this. Just keep that in mind.